Hi, everybody. How are we doing tonight? Oh my goodness, look at what am I doing? I don't even know what's going on in the hair, y'all. All right, so we're just going to go with it because you know what? It's time to go with it. It is 7:57. So that means I'm 2 minutes late. My bad. It's been a day. But we are going to get going with, one of my favorite things. So Cindy Ball, what are we doing first? Come show us. Oh, thanks, Cameron. You're so sweet, even though I don't believe you, but you are sweet to say so.
You are giving away my book.
I'm giving, because what do? I give stuff away. That's right. This is our VIP attendees giveaway. So while I'm doing this, jump in the chat, tell me where you're from, because I love to see everybody where they're from and where everybody's checking in from, because that just makes me happy to see ladies from all over the country and sometimes all over the world checking in the chat. So we're so glad to see everybody here. So we are giving away a copy of Cindy's book. If you were here last week, and if you were a VIP, were a VIP attendee last month, then your name is going to be on this wheel. Okay, so let me get myself in order here. I'm going to share my screen. We are going to do the wheel of names. We are going to do the all VIP, no, not all VIPs, VIP attendees from our February gathering. Good luck, everybody. Here we go. I hope that you win. And our winner is, oh, it was so close, Sarah Marshall. Sarah Marshall, the winner. All right, so Sarah Marshall, if you are on, I will have your address from your registration page. If you're not on, then I will contact you later and you won't hear me say that. So it is now 8 p.m. And if you just jumped on and you're wondering, what the heck is this crazy lady talking about already? It wasn't supposed to start until 8 o'clock. Well, I'll tell you, we do a giveaway. We do multiple giveaways, as y'all know, every month. But the one giveaway that we can't do live in the same month that the winner attends is the VIP attendees. And that is because we do it's a manual thing. I have to get the attendees report, I have to get a report of our members, and then I have to compare them. My dog is getting ready to bark because somebody just showed up at my house. I'm so sorry. Cindy, you want to take over for a minute?
Sure, because this is what we do. We help each other out. So as she said, we are super excited that you're here tonight. She's the queen of the giveaways. I just help get stuff for her to give away. So don't forget, if you're new here, please be sure to put your name and where you're from in our chat. We like to see how far our virtual gathering is reaching. So anyways, we're gonna just jump ahead then. And here she is back with us. You are so fast, Ginger.
Sorry.
No, you're
those
fine.
of you that have barky dogs totally understand, and those of you that don't, I'm so sorry for your loss. All right, so yes, we are so glad you are here, and let me just give you a little bit of a breakdown. If you've never been here before, let me tell you how tonight's going to go, just so that you know kind of the pattern or the schedule, the agenda, whatever you want to call it. So what we'll do is we'll have our gathering, but then after the gathering, we will actually have another Zoom call, a typical Zoom call like you probably are used to, where you can see everybody and you can talk to each other, and we will do breakout rooms by region. So at the end, I will give you the link for that. You don't have to worry about having that ahead of time. Don't worry about it. I'll give it to you at the end. And I'll also give you the registration link for next month. So you'll get everything you need either at the end, or also you'll get the registration link in the breakout rooms. So we want you to stick around with us, and afterwards we're going to discuss in the breakout rooms by region, and we do it by region because things can be different. Maybe not so much with gathering rainwater, although I do know that in some states it's illegal to gather rainwater, which totally, like, I don't get. I mean, like, what is that? But anyway, so we'll gather by region in the Zoom call, and we'll talk about that more at the end. So if you're interested in talking, and I'm pretty sure Lorraine is going to go and jump through the rooms. And so if you have a question that doesn't get answered in the Q&A here, then you can ask her when she comes to your breakout room. Speaking of questions, if you have a question, the best way to ask it is the Q&A function. And the reason that the best way is if you put it in the chat, if y'all are watching this chat, it just flies the whole time. People are talking, making suggestions. And if you guys put your questions in the chat, even though we try really hard to keep an eye on it, we might miss them. But if you use that Q&A feature, we at the end make sure that Lorraine gets all of those, or as many as we can, time depending. So if you'll please use the Q&A function for any chats any questions that you have. And speaking of the breakout rooms, I want to give a ginormous shout out. Jesse, can you help me with this? I know I'm putting you on the spot here. Can you give a huge shout out to my moderators? Because I don't have the list in front of me.
I don't.
Oh, she doesn't have it either.
That's okay. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I am prepared. So give a huge shout out to our moderators for last month. It'd be Judy Winkleman, Miranda Johnson, Jane Dythorn, and Gareth Crosby. Thank you, ladies, so much for stepping up and leading our breakout rooms. They were a lot of fun. We had a lot of people last month, and there was just a ton of talk about. So I'm super, super thankful for stepping up and helping us out.
We get a pre-shout out for tonight's moderators.
Absolutely. Tonight's moderators, if my technology will cooperate with me.
I'm putting her on the spot, y'all. She's doing great.
Judy Winkleman, girl, you help us out so much. Cameron, I apologize. I would try to pronounce your last name.
You know who you are. We're not.
You know who you are,
name, girl.
Cindy Ball and Pam Haas.
Yes.
Hey,
awesome. All right.
Yes.
And if any of you want to be a moderator, the qualifications for being a moderator, they're very stringent. A, you have to be breathing. B, you have to have attended at least one national virtual gathering. So if you're hearing my voice, you're qualified. So if you're interested, just shoot an email to media@nlhg.org. It is super fun. All the moderators that have done it before will tell you that it's fun. So without further ado, let's get on with tonight's gathering. I'm only 1 minute late, even with all the delays. Cindy Ball, tell us what you got for us tonight.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. And I'm going to do a shout out to Ginger, because I know today's been a rough day, and look at her beautiful smiling face and her up attitude. And I just can't tell you how much I appreciate that, especially knowing what's been going on in her life. So Ginger, thank you very much for that. All right, ladies, you are here as part of the National Ladies Homestead Gathering community. We're super excited to have you here. And the reason we are here is because our purpose is to empower women through homesteading. We started these virtual gatherings a little over a year ago, in lieu of COVID and not being able to meet face-to-face, because we are founded and built on face-to-face community in our local chapters. And then we realized that we had ladies who didn't have local chapters who were getting on here, and it was like, oh my gosh, we are not going to stop it. Plus, we really, really enjoy doing these. It's very fun. And so this is why we were continuing them. And actually, our audience is growing. So we're super excited. Be sure and share this information. It's the first Wednesday of every month that we will have our virtual gathering. So even if you don't have a National Ladies Homestead Gathering chapter in your local community, you can join us here. And we are happy, happy, happy to have you. Our mission statement for the National Ladies Homestead Gathering is to share knowledge, which you will see tonight with our wonderful speaker that we have on Rainwater catchment, and to build community. And even though this is virtual, we are building a virtual community. And then lastly is to grow friendships, which we see happen all the time. So we welcome you. Thank you for being on here. And Ginger, I'm going to hand it back to you.
Well, thank you, Cindy, for your kind words. And luckily, I just get to set that volleyball right back up in the air so that Miranda Johnson, who we are working on her completely awesome intro music because she totally needs some, share our Atta Girls for the month. Miranda, you always do such a good job bringing us these Atta Girls.
Hi, ladies. So Cindy just shared what our purpose at National Ladies Homestead Gathering is, and that is to empower women through homesteading. And one of the ways that we do this is by sharing our Atta Girl moments from the previous month. So I have several Atta Girl moments to share with you all that were submitted on our private network, community.nlhg.org. So let me start from the top and read these. They're fantastic this year. So February's Atta Girls. We have Trina Reynolds saying she met her goal and canned something every week in February. Atta girl. We have Pam Haas, who said she cleaned off all the accumulated stuff from the front porch and pressure washed the front of her house to make room for starting seeds and dividing plants. Atta girl, Pam. Karen Hart shared that she learned how to tap maple trees and put the sap bags on the bag holders. She says she'll be more help to her husband now during the early maple season. That's fantastic, Karen. Let's see. Tanya Wessler shared that she started a new remote job, got the office situated, and will now have income to get the supplies she needs to start canning. Her biggest passion is food, fermentation, and natural methods of preservation, and she's one step closer. Kim Park shared that she successfully obtained a Scooby? I always mess that up. Let's see. Darlene Nuss says that she got beans and carrots planted. I'm jealous. I still have snow on my garden. So Darlene, I'm totally jealous that you got beans and carrots planted. And she also assembled an extra deep raised bed. Teresa Everest shared that she canned some chicken and some pork roast. She's exploring different bread recipes to find the best sandwich bread recipe. Teresa, when you find that, be sure to share it because I'm always looking for a fantastic sandwich bread. She says her husband's loving all of the fresh bread. She says they still have a couple feet of frozen snow, so planting isn't going to happen for a while. She also has 11 pregnant ewes, and they're getting close. So she's going to have lots of lambs soon. Let's see. Our speaker, Lorraine, tonight said that she made bone broth and canned a dozen jars, got her tomatoes canned, started seeds for the garden, and made a quick trip to Nebraska. And then let's see, we've got one more in here. Kelly White shared that she learned about seed starting on her own garden from a presentation at her first official LHG meeting in Hawkins, Tennessee. So atta girl to everybody. Thank you for sharing these moments with us so we can encourage you on your homestead journey. And if you're interested in sharing your own, make sure to pop over to community.nlhg.org. There's a post already there and you can share your atta girl moments with us. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Miranda, so much. You are awesome every month bringing those atta girls to us and just making sure that we're able to really just encourage each other and be encouraged by what everyone else is doing. Because I know for me, it's a whole lot easier to think maybe I can do something if I hear of another LHG lady doing it, because I feel like we're all the same. And if you can do it, why can't I? So Anyway, yes. So Jesse just dropped the link for community.nlhg.org. That's such a tongue twister. In the chat. If you haven't joined us there, please join us. It is such an amazing place. And to use a buzzword of the day, it is a safe space for us to talk about homesteading things without any repercussions from anybody, because we can talk about things that we need to talk about being homesteaders there. So please join us at community.nlhg.org. We would love to see you there. There is no telling what kind of crazy stuff that Julie Bowen is going to post on there, because, well, let me tell you, she's one crazy kitten. But that's why we love her. Okay, on to the next thing, because we got stuff to do. New this month is we are going to start doing polls every month, because we want to learn more about you ladies, and we want to learn about your homesteads. We want to learn about what you're interested in. So every month we're going to do a poll on our national virtual gathering. It's going to be a 1-question poll. I'm going to pop it on the screen. You choose your answer, hit submit, and that's it. And it's not going to be any personal information. In fact, there's not even a space for your name. So I'm going to go ahead and launch this month's poll. It is about how many acres does your homestead consist of? You could be in an apartment. Our definition of homestead, remember, is doing at home instead of going to the store. So you don't have to have 100 acres or more to be a homesteader. Right now, I'm looking at the polls that's coming in. 24% of people have less than an acre. So, you're right there. It's going up, going up, going up. So I'm going to give about maybe 5 more seconds on the poll. So get your answers in. Click on there. Let us know what's going on. All right, here we go. 4, 3, 2, get your answers in, hit submit, hit submit, hit submit. Thank you so much, ladies. I'm just going to share these results with you so you guys can see. We got 26% with less than an acre. That by far is or not by far, but that is the largest. 50% of you guys are on 5 acres or less. So don't feel like if you are on a small piece of acreage, if you're in an apartment, if you're in a neighborhood, that you cannot be a homesteader, because you can do it home instead of going to the store, even if it's just something simple like going to the farmer's market and buying a bushel of beans and bringing them home and canning. You're a homesteader because you are of that mindset, just like us. Okay, so now let's get to the meat and potatoes, the why you are here. Let's get on to our presenter, Lorraine. Lorraine is here to talk with us about harvesting rainwater, and she's got so much good information. I am just going to let her come on and start talking, because I know you guys are going to have questions. Again, put your questions in the chat. I mean, in the not in the chat. Don't put your questions in the chat. Put your questions in the Q&A, and then Lorraine, at the end of your presentation, I'll kind of call those out to you, and you can answer those live.
Okay. Hello, ladies. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I just want to make sure, since we had a little technical difficulty a little while ago. So my name is Lorraine Chiak. My husband and I live on 40 acres off grid. So that's solar and rainwater catchment for us. So we're going to share with you tonight what we have put on our property and the lessons we've learned and the things that we have learned along the way. I'm going to share my PowerPoint presentation with you here for just a second. It is disabled.
Yeah.
So give me just
I'm working
a second.
on it. Sorry.
That's all right.
All right, you should be good.
Okay. That is not the window I want to share. Hang on just a second. Give me just a second. It's okay.
Ladies, while she's working on getting her stuff up and running, why don't you put in the chat if there is a unique way that you are collecting rainwater? Go ahead and throw those ideas in the chat just so that other ladies can be looking at those. Like, for example, for our chickens, we water them with rainwater, and we have a collection barrel that gets the rainwater that is shed off their coop. And it collects, and then it's an automatic waterer there. So that's one way that we use rainwater creatively, and we collect it on our homestead. So put what you guys do in the chat. So Lorraine, you
hang on just a second. We're still working on it.
So keep
Sorry.
Hi, friends. Keep it pulled up.
Carlos got a 55-gallon drum that they're going to be using for their garden this year. That's awesome.
There we go. Okay, got it. Technology is not my thing. That's why I'm at Julie's house tonight.
Well, I made her drive an hour for no internet.
And we've had an internet issue. Okay, so what you should be seeing, I'm hoping, are y'all seeing the first slide here?
Yes, we can see that.
Okay, so this is our current setup. In the picture here, that's currently what our setup looks like at the end of our setup. But what I wanted to talk about now is, why do we do rainwater catchment? First and foremost, rain is free, so it doesn't cost you anything other than your setup cost. It's obviously beneficial to your plants and your soil. It contains no added chemicals. You can also control your runoff with it. So this helps if you have an area that's, being washed away. Sustainability, we don't have to rely on water coming from any other source. Conservation, you're saving up and using good rainwater. Rainwater is also a soft water, so it doesn't have, like I said before, all the chemicals added to it that we find in our rural water or our city water. There are several uses for rainwater. One is you watering your plants, obviously your animals, and your everyday dishes, drinking, laundry, showering. One thing also about rainwater catchment is that, like for us, it was a cost thing. We bought raw land. So there was no well, no house, no anything. So when you compared putting in a well versus being able to put in rainwater obviously was less expensive. So we're going to talk some water math. It's a little bit like chicken math, but not quite. So water math works in many different ways. So if you have a roof and you want to calculate how much water you're taking off of your roof and that you can collect in 1 inch of rain, you're going to take the size of your collection roof, and that could be a lean-to roof, that could be the roof on your house. I mean, any area that you want to collect rain off of. You're going to take the size of that area and you're going to multiply it by 0.62, sorry. So as you see for the example, our roof is 42 by 20, which means it's 840 square feet. So we're going to take the 840 square feet times 0.62, and that equals 520 gallons of water that we collect off of 1 inch of rain. That's a lot of water for an inch of rain. When we first put our system in, our first rain was about 3.5 inches, and we collected right about 1,200 gallons of water in one rain. Now, our tank that you saw in the earlier picture is a 2,100 gallon tank. So we had a little room to grow from there, but it has overflowed a few times as well. So this number, this 0.62 times your area, will give you this number of how much rain you can collect in 1 inch of rain. This will help you figure out the size of the tank or container you need, or maybe how much your rain barrel will hold, how many rain barrels you need if you're just collecting off one gutter. So you'll have to adjust that number based on what you're collecting off of. Another thing to consider is that water weighs 8.34 pounds per gallon. So your tank or container will need to be on a solid and level surface. Always check with the manufacturer of the tank you're going to use, especially if you're using a large tank like what we have. If you're using rain barrels, you just want to make sure they're good and level, and that there's nothing that's going to push through the bottom of your rain barrel that might cause for you to have holes that get poked into the bottom of your rain barrel. When we put our tank in, according to our tank manufacturer's instructions, we used a sand base that has a concrete ring around the outside of it, and it's filled with sand, and it's nice and level. So that allows our tank to shift and move a little bit, but not too much. But like if it's full, it's going to put a little more weight. And when it's lighter, it's going to pull up, be less weight. So it allows for that expansion of our tank. On average, you will get 1 PSI, which is not too bad, per 2.31 feet of drop in elevation. So if you're doing gravity feed, you can use this formula to figure out how much pressure you'll have at the end of your hose or your pipes or whatever you're using. The larger your outgoing pipe is, the more pressure you'll have at the end. So if you have a 3/4 inch garden hose, you're not going to have as much pressure as if you have a 1 inch garden hose, which I know sounds kind of crazy. You would think it'd kind of be the other way, but it's not. So just keep that in mind if you're putting in garden hoses and you know you're going to be like going in your garden and watering your garden. You want to make sure you have a bigger hose if you're using gravity feed so that you have better pressure. Okay. In your setup, some of the things you are more than likely going to need are obviously rain gutters, downspouts, your PVC pipes and connections, your tank or your barrel. Now here I have black. That is the best color, especially for a larger tank that's going to sit out in the sun all day. The blue barrels are fine as long as they're getting some shade or you're not containing water in them full time. A first flush, which is this kind of tube looking item in the picture here. What that does is when the rain comes down your rain gutters and over to your system, your tank, you want the beginning water that comes off of your roof to kind of wash your roof off. So that water is diverted by the rain harvesting, the rain gutter, I'm sorry, by the first flush. I drew a blank on the name. The first flush system that you have. So it's that little ball when the rain comes down the tube, and then the little ball is going to eventually move up that tube and block the water from coming down into the barrel, which if you look at the blue barrel, that's what our first flush system goes into. When the ball shuts off the top, then the water continues into our big black tank. Now, the first flush you really only need if you're using the water for human consumption. If you're collecting off for gardens or animals, you don't necessarily need to do that. But that we do this because we do use this water for everything. Knee highs, I'll talk about those in a minute. An overflow tank, somewhere for your overflow water to go. In the first picture of the presentation, you'll notice we had a big black tank sitting there. That's our overflow. So when our tank is full, everything overflows into that, and then we can still use that water. A ball valve will keep your, is where you turn your water on and off out of your tank, which is at the bottom of the tank, of the big black tank. We also filter our water, so you will need if you want to filter your water, you'll need filters. We have a 3-filter system, and so that's only because it's human consumption. If you're watering your garden or watering your animals with it, you don't need that. You'll also need maybe a spigot or a hydrant if you want to run it to a hydrant. And of course, you'll need hoses. So in the picture here, you'll see the blue barrel. That's our first flush system. And then the other picture you'll see is our gutter system. Because we collect rain off of an RV cover, we had to offset our gutters a little bit. It's not one single run, it's 2 runs. And that allows for the ridges in the roof that we have. So, okay, let's see. Okay, other possible setups that would include barrels connected together. I think you've probably all seen the blue barrels stacked on top of each other and the pipes in between connecting them together. IBC totes, which is what the big tote in our system is. Ponds. I know that one of our previous speakers even talked about this. They do that on their property. They collect rainwater off one of their buildings and it feeds their pond. Or you could put it all in a cistern in the ground. It just depends on what system you want to do it and how you want to do it. As I said before, any water used for gardening would not need to be filtered, only if you're collecting it for human use. Containers used for collecting any kind of water should be black, especially if you're going to store it long term. Now, our first flush barrel again is blue because we don't leave the water sitting in there. We take it out and use it for watering the garden or our animals. So if you have blue barrels, they either need to be in the shade, inside a building, something where sunlight's not going to hit them full time. But if you're going to be storing it in a big tank outside, that definitely should be black. This helps prevent algae from growing in your water or any other kind of contaminants maybe being fed by the sunlight. I know a lot of people put theirs in a building, and we will eventually put a building around ours, not only to keep it from getting hot, but also to keep it getting cold. Here in Oklahoma last year, we've had a very long 2 weeks of very cold weather where it didn't get above 32 degrees. So we had a nice big ice ring on the inside of our tank. Had it been inside a building, we probably wouldn't have had such a ring, but eventually it will be in a building. But those are options for you depending on which kind of tank you're using. The water should not be collected from a composition or asphalt roof. The main reason for this is the contaminants that will come off that roof and that the roof cannot be thoroughly cleaned by the rainwater. So when I say a composition roof, y'all think about all the little roofs that have the little gravel in them and they, you know, the water runs down and you see the little gravel on the ground. That's the kind of roof we're talking about here. Or sometimes they call it an asphalt roof. But when it rains on that, the rain will not clean off those roof tiles properly enough for you to be able to collect the water. It just would contaminate your system, especially if you're going to be trying to filter it and use it for drinking and stuff like that. One thing also to consider is all your tanks, barrels, and any other containers should be food grade. I recommend that even if you're using it for your animals, like if you're collecting it for animals and it's going to be in storage, I would just say food grade is definitely the way to go. Now, on the first flush, we do clean that out for several reasons. We actually take it apart, take it out, and clean it because it does collect leaves, June bugs, all kinds of things that come off our roof. Pollen is a big one for us that will collect in our rain tank, in our tanks, if we don't filter it first. This is where the pantyhose come in that I mentioned earlier, the knee highs. We actually put a knee high on the end of the pipe coming into our tank so that it catches the pollen and even the smaller stuff that the first flush doesn't get or still gets past the first flush because the first flush is full. It's amazing how much stuff actually comes off your roof. Pollen was not something we ever thought about until we had pollen in our tank. So that's where the knee highs come in, is we use them to keep the things out of our tank. Now on the pictures here, the one on the right is the roof. Now when we set up our tanks and all our rain gutters and everything, and remember that every setup is going to be different depending on your area, what your property looks like, what your gravity feed needs to be. But one of the things we learned we had a small rain right before we had the larger rain that filled our tank. And we realized that all the rain was going off the end of our RV cover. So it was all running across the end there. So my husband, Chris, who's very ingenious, found a rubber L-shaped seal type thing that goes on the bottom of a garage door and screwed it across the top of the ridges, and that diverts the water onto our gutters. So then our gutters actually collected rainwater and not the ground at the end of the RV cover. The other picture is our filter system. We use 3 different filters, and I'll share with you in a little bit what those are, but I just wanted to see how it's set up in line right there. Okay, when you are laying out your system, one of the things to think about, especially for putting, obviously, like we did, PVC pipes in the ground, then you need to be sure that you are below your frost line, which is different in every area. Sometimes it's different in each, different areas of the state. Ours is 2 feet. In Oklahoma, when we lived in Nebraska, it was like 6 feet. So you just need to be sure you're aware of where your frost line is before you start laying pipes. Make sure you get them far enough down that they don't freeze. Someone asked our cost set up at one point in time, so I put it in here. Our approximately tank, PVC pipes, everything included was approximately $1,700. So when you think about $1,700 versus the cost of a well, and I know that varies by area as well, but I think just for us, it was going to be about 10 grand to hopefully hit water just to get started. So obviously that was very much a big idea for us to go from a $10,000 possible or more to about $1,700. And then, like I said earlier, no 2 setups are alike. They vary by each location and by what your goals are. Again, if you're just watering animals, or if you're just watering your garden, or if you're using it for your everyday life. One of the things that I learned in this whole thing is that there is definitely a change in your mindset when you're using rainwater exclusively for your water supply. It makes taking a shower or doing dishes or even doing laundry a totally different thing, because you know that there's a possibility that you don't want to run out of water. So every time you turn the water on, you think, okay, how long do I need to leave it running? Or when you're washing your hands, like, okay, let's hurry up and get this done so I don't use any extra water. So I would recommend, if this is something you're considering doing, start practicing those things before you switch to full rainwater reliance if you can. We take what they call military showers. That means you turn the water on, you get wet, you turn the water off, you lather up your soap, your shampoo, and then you turn the water back on and you rinse off. Now, when the tank is full, I cheat a little bit, but when the water starts going down, you start thinking about that more and more, and just about where all your water comes from and how much water we actually use. I will tell y'all, I work for a water department. I can tell you that the average in our area, the average household uses 4,000 to 6,000 gallons of water a month. Now that's probably like a household of 4 people. We, just the 2 of us, use about 100 to 150 gallons of water a week. So that's way lower, but we're very aware of that, and it's very intentional. So it's just a change in your mindset, and that's something to consider if this is something you're considering doing full-fledged. Something else to consider is that rainwater is soft, just like if you run it through a water softener, because there's no chemicals in it, and that's what a water softener does. It takes out a lot of the chemicals. So it does cut down on the amount of soap, shampoo, dish soap that we use on a regular basis, which in the long run saves us money. My husband will tell you that a bar of soap will last him about 4 months, where it used to last about a month and a half. So it really is a nice way to save there as well. The other thing about rainwater being soft, and having no chemicals is that it also has no minerals in it. So the water you get from your rural water department or your city has stuff added to it, whereas rainwater does not. It's completely natural. So that's something to also consider, because that's something you're going to have to make an intake somewhere else. So whether that means you're just eating more nutritionally dense foods or you're taking a supplement of some kind, but make sure you look into that so that you know what you need to do to make up the difference there. One thing is you can, as I say here, quote unquote, clean your water if it has been contaminated using bleach. You can search the internet for a formula. The one that we would, if we absolutely had to, and we really would not do this unless we absolutely had no other choice, is for like 4 gallons of water, you use 1/3 of a teaspoon of bleach, which isn't a whole lot. Now, if you have to do this in your system, you need to let it set for at least 30 minutes before you use that water. Like I said, again, this would be in a dire situation for us to do this because we do have filters, so we're not too worried about it. But if something happened and we absolutely had no choice, this is the process we would use. Now, you saw a picture of our filters a minute ago. They are 3 filters. There's a 1 micron carbon. Now the carbon kind of takes any kind of unusual taste or smell out of the water, and it's considered a whole household carbon filter. The next one is a 5 micron wrapped string filter. Then the next one is a 1 micron string filter. So, and that's the order that they are set up in our system. So when the water comes in, it hits the carbon filter first, then the 5 micron, and then the 1 micron string. Now, the carbon filter is one that you're going to have to replace probably the most often for 2 reasons. One is it is the first filter that the water hits. The second is that it is, because it is just a carbon filter, it won't take as much debris into it or as long as the strings. The strings are really woven tight and they will last a little longer. We've been off grid with Rainwater 16, 18 months, and we've replaced the carbon twice. Oh, sorry, 4 times. I'm being corrected over here. We've replaced the carbon one 4 times. I think one of those we thought that it was the filter and it turned out to be the pump that pumps the water up into our trailer. But the other 2, I think we've changed once each. So that kind of gives you an idea. The research we did showed that the carbon one you would change more often, especially in the first year that you were doing it, because it's just cleaning out your systems all the way. But like I said, we've done ours 4 times. Like I said before, we use approximately 100 to 150 gallons of water a week. And I think that's pretty good. That kind of blows my mind, especially like I said, I work at a water department. So it kind of blows my mind that we do that. So in this picture here, that is the ball joint that comes out of the bottom of our tank. From that, the water goes down underneath the ground in PVC to the filter system, which is also in a box set in the ground. And then because we live in an RV currently, it has to be pumped up into our trailer for use. We use it for everything, for dishes, showers, cooking, laundry, all of it. And then we will be adding rainwater catchment to several areas of our property this year. We'll be doing it off of a cover over one of our coops, off of one of our coops for our chickens. We'll be putting in a system for our garden this year. There are just so many different ways to collect rainwater. So I hope if it's something that you've even thought about for just a few minutes, this helps give you guys some clues of where to start, where to look, and what you might be willing to do on your homestead. You can collect it just for your animals, just for your garden. It doesn't have to be whole house. Whatever your needs are, then you've got a way to collect and save some money, if nothing else, and some time. Because if you set it up for your animals, then you can actually set it up to be automated, and you don't have to be hauling water or worrying about things like that. So some of the resources that we have used, now the National Tank Outlet, that's where we bought our tank. Like I said, it's a 2,100 gallon tank. We hauled it on the back of a 5x8 trailer laid up on its side, right down Interstate 40. It wasn't too hard to move. It's just kind of bulky, but it's not real super heavy. Mother Earth News is a great resource for any other information on rainwater collection. They did a really good article. I want to say it was like August of 2019 or 2020 that was all about rainwater. It's really good. We do have a YouTube channel that's listed there, Bluff Creek Acres. We do have one video up that kind of shows us working through the process of putting up our water catchment. Another resource we used was Doug and Stacy Off Grid. If you're not familiar with them, that's their YouTube channel. They have a really nice setup. It is inside, but Doug set that all up himself. Rainharvest.com is a great resource. That's the company that made the first flush valve that we use. You can go in there and browse and find all kinds of different components, but I would definitely compare pricing them to someone else. So the filters that we use in our system, we bought off Amazon. I'm trying to remember what they cost. They were about, I think total for, like, they come in packs. One comes in a pack of 5, one comes in a pack of 6, one comes in a pack of 4. But all the filters, the first round I bought filters was like $70 for, for quite a few filters. The only one we've had to reorder is the carbon filter, because I still have plenty of the string filters. So again, there are 1 micron carbon. We bought those from Pure Plus. We used Aquaboon for the 1 micron string and Geek Pure for the 5 micron string. And again, they were all purchased through Amazon. But shop around. I mean, you know what you're looking for, and make sure your pricing is fairly good. I'm gonna take that off. Give me just a second. Okay. Were there any questions that came through, Ginger? Did we see any questions?
Oh my gosh, so many questions, so many
Okay.
good questions. We're just gonna start at the top and go to the bottom.
Okay,
All right,
now I have to tell you, I do have my husband is here to help with any questions that I can't answer. So
that's okay. We allow that.
So if you see me turn around to him, that's why.
We did have, I mentioned at the top, and somebody also mentioned in the Q&A, that it is illegal to collect rainwater in some areas. And somebody I saw put in the chat a website that will list that. So if you're unsure if it's illegal or if it's legal or illegal in your area to collect rainwater, scroll way back up. It was almost all the way at the top of the chat, or I'm sure you could just Google it or call your extension office. They'll be able to tell you. So I just wanted to bring that up again. Let's see. All right. Do you have any ideas about finding reasonably priced IBC containers or other water catchment containers?
Okay, our IBC totes we purchased off the marketplace, the Facebook marketplace. You just need to make sure they're food grade. Some people will clean them out before they sell them. Some don't. You may have to take it to the car wash, give it a good washing, maybe use some bleach. Just depends on what was in it. But yes, that's where we find ours. I'm sure there's a place that sells them brand new, but they would be very expensive, I would think.
Okay. How do you keep bugs and mosquitoes from getting into your water?
Knee-high pantyhose. I know that sounds crazy, but I know I talked earlier about we put that, so the pipe that goes into our black tank, it has a knee-high on it at the end. We take it out and clean it out, switch it out every once in a while. Then in the picture, you'll notice in the first picture, we had a big pipe going down into our overflow. There's also a pantyhose on the end of that pipe, and around the inlet, we kind of connected it all together with a pair of knee highs, so that no bugs can get in there and get up into our tank or down into our overflow tank.
So we've been doing a lot of shout outs tonight. I'm just going to shout out Jessie Reed, y'all. She is dropping links in the chat left and right. She's put Lorraine's Instagram in there. She has put their YouTube channel, and she also copy and pasted that link for the states. So if you want to grab that, you won't have to scroll back up. All right. So if you have a sloped roof, I'm assuming this is like a regular pitched roof, and you
Right.
only collect on one side, would you factor half the square footage in your calculation?
Yes, just calculate the area that you will be collecting off of. Like I said, whether that's like if you have a big barn, but you're only using the lean-to side of it, you want to just calculate that square footage so that you'll know what you'll be getting off of it.
Okay, and we have a question about reducing algae growth. What have you found to be the best way to reduce algae growth?
Well, honestly, we haven't had any algae growth in our black tank. So the best thing is it needs to be a black container. If you really want to keep the algae from growing in it, it needs to be a black container if it's sitting in the sun. Again, you can use the blue barrels if it's like inside of a building or, you know, fully shaded area, but you definitely need the black tank to do that. The bleach should also take care of the algae. We just not have that problem.
And did you paint your tank black, or did it come black?
It came black.
Okay. And
now we did paint our IBC tote with a spray paint that was supposed to stick to plastic. It doesn't. We tried it just to see if it would work. So we're going to have to actually eventually cover it with, if you can't get a tank that's black, or you have one already that's a different color, you can cover it with black, like garbage bag plastic, thick black plastic, and cover the tank with that. And as long as the sunlight cannot get into that tank, it should be good.
And can you repeat again the ratio of bleach to water?
So for, I think it was for like 4 gallons would be 1/3 of a teaspoon. So basically it's 8 drops of 6% bleach per gallon.
And what is going to be your sign if to let you know that you need to clean your water? Do you test your water? Is there a smell? Is it a color?
Well, you can test your water. Your county extension office will do that. I think some will, some won't. You can also check your water department. They may check it for you. But one of the two should be able to give you a resource if they don't. Also, I mean, Chris climbs up on a ladder and puts his head inside the tank and looks at it and just sees how things are going. Ours is filtered, so I would not see it at the end of it, hopefully. I mean, if I do, we are in serious trouble. But like I say, Chris climbs up on a ladder and checks the tank about once a month just to make sure everything's going well and that everything looks good. That's how we discovered the pollen problem before. And the pollen just filtered out. It wasn't an issue, but that's when we realized that a little bit extra debris was getting in there. And that's when we switched to the pantyhose. Before that, we were using cheesecloth and a mesh bag, which caught bigger stuff, but it wasn't catching the smaller stuff.
And have you used food grade hydrogen peroxide, or have you found that bleach works better?
I would recommend bleach. I do not know how peroxide would work. I mean, I'm not aware of peroxide being an option.
Okay. People want to know, inquiring minds want to know, what is your plan B if you have an extremely dry year?
We have a creek. We also have a neighbor who very generously has, when we first set up, he let us take some water out of his well, and we have a trailer. So we have a fresh water tank. So we can actually pump water into our fresh water tank if we needed to.
Okay. And do you know how much it rains in your area?
No, really don't know. Off the top of my head, I know this past spring we could have filled 2 tanks. But that is something to look into. We weren't, I mean, we've lived in Oklahoma long enough that we really weren't worried about it. I do know there's, if you're in the desert, it's a serious concern because you're not going to get as much rain as we typically do here. So definitely want to check and make sure you know how much rain you get in your area. We just weren't concerned about it because we lived here long enough to know that we should be fine.
And can you tell which of the resource links where did you get your largest tank from?
The top one, that National Tank Outlet, ntotank.com, and they will let you pick up. They have locations all over the country. So it's cheaper if you go pick it up, which is what we did. It saved us like $150 delivery fee or something. So they'll load you right along with the 18-wheelers. You just go up and check in their office. They'll put you in line and you haul your tank home.
Okay.
They were really easy to work with, and the website's really pretty easy to deal with. Like you got pricing and everything right on the website. So it was really nice.
And people are asking about different colored barrels, brown, white. It doesn't matter as long as the light can't get in. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes. I know there are some green tanks, there's brown tanks. But unless it's black, you really want to make sure it's covered somehow so that sunlight cannot get in it, because sunlight is what will make your algae grow.
Okay. And so there was a little confusion about the composition roof. That's just like a regular shingled roof. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, that's the older asphalt roof. It's the one that the little gravelly pieces come off of. I know now you can buy like plastic or composite shingle roofs that look like cedar planks and all that. Those would be fine. It's just the ones that aren't going to have a smooth surface that the rain can wash it clean. And then it's not going to give you a bunch of those little peely, gravelly pieces inside. And while we were talking, my wonderful husband just looked it up, and Oklahoma in our area gets 46.1 inches of rain in a year on average.
And people are asking if you wanted to do a hybrid system, like what would you recommend? What would be the easiest, aside from, animals in the garden, what in the home would be the easiest to switch if you were going to use both rainwater and well water?
That's a very good question. I have to think about that for a second because I've never thought about using both at the same time. If you're collecting off your roof, and you could probably just pick. I would say if you want to start, I would start with a shower or your dishes. Now I do all my dishes by hand. We do not have a dishwasher. So I would probably start with showers.
Any water that you collect on any.
All right.
Yes. And the other thing is any water that you collect on any roof, you can use in your toilet.
And okay, so there's a lady asking that they often have 90 days or more without any rain. How long will the water stay good in your tanks?
We have water that's been in our tank the whole time. It's from my first collection 16, 18 months ago. Well, it would have been October.
Yeah, it's never gone dry.
Yeah, our tank has never gone dry. So we've had water in our tank since October of 2020. And as long as it's not getting algae, it's not getting sunlight, it's fine.
Okay, and you guys do have a pump with yours, is that correct?
We do, because our house sits above the level of our tank, or right level with our tank, because we're in an RV. When we build our home, it will be gravity fed because of where we know we'll be building. So we put the tank now based on where we're going to build our house later.
All right. And so that is all that we have time for, ladies, for now, because as you know, I have stuff to give away. Lorraine, thank you so very much. I hope you're going to be able to go to the breakout rooms. Julie can help you get there and talk with our ladies. They really enjoy that. But ladies, I've got stuff to give away, so we're going to jump to that portion of the program. Lorraine will be in there. I believe her slides will be available. We will make those available for our VIPs like normal. You sign in and everything will be available by next Wednesday. All right, so first giveaway. All you have to do to be in this giveaway is to be a VIP member. So that means that somebody may win that's not even here, and that's okay because we love our VIP members. And what we are giving away this month for our VIP members is a Mother Earth News magazine and a Harris Farmer's Almanac, a 2022 seasonal gardening guide. So let me just pull up my wheel of names here and see what we can see. All right, so all VIPs, this is any VIP. All you have to do is be a VIP. Good luck, lady, to everyone who's a VIP member. And the winner is Daphne Robert Hamilton. You know, I need a scribe. So if anyone in the South Carolina area wants to be my personal scribe and will wear a hat with a feather, that is what I'm going to do. Now, I'm going to pause before I go on to the VIPs. Before I go on to the all attendees, because I'm going crazy. It's been too long since December. We need to give away some extra stuff. So this month, I'm doing a second all VIPs and a second all VIPs and a second all attendees. So we are going to be giving away some elderberry cuttings. Now this is elderberry bush. It's a determinate, which means it will fruit all at the same time, and they are super prolific. So let me go back to my all VIPs share screen. Sorry, Daphne, you just want, let's see who's the next winner on Ginger Likes to Give Away the House. And our winner is dun, 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 Suzanne. All right, Suzanne, congratulations. I will be mailing you your elderberries. Okay, so I like to give things away. Let me tell you, we've been doing shout outs tonight. I guess we're just feeling appreciative. It's March. It's been tough, y'all. I don't know about y'all, but I've had a pretty rough 10 days. And so I'm just happy to be thankful today. And I just want to tell you who I'm thankful for. I'm gonna stop for a minute. Just indulge me. I'm thankful for my team, for Julie, for Jesse, for Cindy, for Miranda, for all the executive staff. I'm thankful for our moderators. You guys make it happen every month. But I am thankful for our leaders, our local chapter board members. You guys are so awesome. And let me tell you what they did, ladies. They showed up on Monday night. It was our monthly leadership call, and they showed up in numbers that we haven't seen in quite a while. And I'm so excited that there were so many leaders on there, and we just appreciate, there's no way that we could have this organization without them to be in the trenches, putting your local gatherings together, doing the work on a local level. They are what really make it happen on a local level. And so for every single board member, not for every chapter, but for every board member that attended the leadership call on Monday night, you guys are also going to get an elderberry cutting. Now, I'm going to ship them all to the president or whoever, to one person that was on the call. But every board member, not just one per chapter, but every board member that was on the call, and we've got a list of those from the check-in. So thank you for what you do on a local level. You guys are awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I can't say thank you enough You guys, I'm loving seeing these comments fly. Y'all are awesome. Okay, now back to the regularly scheduled giveaways, because that's what we have to do here, or Cindy's going to start yelling at me that I'm taking too long. So now we've given away the all VIPs. Now we have to do all attendees. So if you are on this call, you are in this giveaway. This is not a call. This is a gathering. All right. All attendees. So it's almost spring, y'all. We are all so ready for spring. So we have a little spring bundle. We have this cute little garden sign that says, plant seeds of happiness and kindness, because by golly, if everybody would do that, wouldn't we be in a better place? So you're going to get this cute little garden sign. I'm going to give you 2 packs of, there's such a glare, plant markers. So we've got 2 packs of plant markers. And then I have got this flower assortment. Sunflowers, zinnias, marigolds, daisies, all kinds of stuff to make your space beautiful. All right, so this is for everybody. If you are here, you are in it to win it. You know what? I'm spinning the wheel and I'm not sharing my screen. Okay, let's see. So I'm going to share my screen, and whoever's won has won. How about it? Donna Lambert, there you go. I'm spinning and spinning and spinning. Oh, and you know what? I'm going to throw in an almanac. Why? Because I'm crazy. That's right. All right, Donna Lambert. All right, this next spin is for all attendees. Your elderberry cuttings. So this is elderberry cuttings for all attendees. Let's see who's gonna win those elderberries. Marilyn, congratulations. I hope you guys put your address in when you registered, because that's how I know where to send it when you win. All right, and so now what I'm going to do, can't give this one away this month because, like I said at the beginning, I've got to do the comparison, but this is what the VIP attendees will be, I'll be spinning for at the beginning of next month. Sorry, I had a little problem. All right, so for all VIP attendees, so if you're a VIP or you sign up by midnight tonight, because I can be flexible, I like to give stuff away. We've got this super cute Garden of Whedon, because let's be honest, every garden's a Garden of Whedon, right? So you got your Garden of Whedon sign. You two are going to get 2 packs of these. And y'all, these are the best markers that I have ever experienced. They just last forever. All right. So, and then to go along with that, you're also going to get an almanac, and you're getting a fruit and vegetable assortment. We've got cantaloupes, beans, cucumbers, peppers. There's herbs, radishes. Man, I mean, squash is always a huge, just mess of seeds. All right, so this is what I'm going to give away at the beginning of next month's gathering. Now, you don't have to be present to win next month because you're present today. This is your qualification, if you will. If you are not a VIP member and you want to join us to be in for that drawing, you can join us by midnight tonight by going to www.nlhg.org, and there is a join us button there. We would love to have you. There are so many benefits. I don't have time to go into them because I'm already over, but now it's time to go to the breakout rooms. So Tammy, I see your hand is up. If you have a question, I don't see one in the Q&A. If you have a question, then throw it in the Q&A, and you put your hand down. You must have realized you had your hand up. All right, I'm looking for the link in the chat. You guys have been chatting so much. Jesse sent it to me earlier. I should be getting there. All right, here we go. All right. So ladies, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm getting ready to put the link for the breakout rooms in the chat. You guys are so awesome. This is so much fun for me every month. If you can't tell, I just love it to death. I love you guys to death. We will see you next month. Next month, Julie Bowen, help me out. What are we talking about next month? Miranda, Cindy, anybody?
We're talking about meat rabbits.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited, y'all. That's right. Meat rabbits. Join us next month if you are interested in learning about using rabbits on your homestead as a sustainable protein source. We've got Brooke Lewis Lemkova. She's going to be here. She's awesome. She's an awesome, awesome, awesome teacher. So join us for that. Now, so thank you so much. Sign up for next month. Make sure you get your link, and I'll put the breakout room chat in, the link in just a second.